Trigger warning for the eugenics and genocidal thought processes that are inherent to the very business of this lawsuit. We're going to unpack that today if you're willing and able to stick around.
Hola. I had originally planned to present and narrate an example of these ads, but just looking at them makes me mad, so I'm simply going to paraphrase. They function as an if-then statement. If you took acetaminophen,
You live in what kind of home? Okay.
It's a natural phenomenon.
Phenomenon?
otherwise known as paracetamol, and gave birth to an autistic child, then you deserve financial compensation. Like the mesothelioma ads, but if you had to raise the asbestos fibers embedded in your lungs.
The message the ads are sending, loud and clear, which the lawyers know full well, is that autism is some kind of birth defect, that it's preventable, and that it's a problem. So if you just want the money and you think the matter is as simple as let me get my money however I can and don't infringe on my right to do so, let me explain as briefly as I can how dangerous the legal precedent that we're about to discuss is. First things first. Down syndrome, for example, is technically the result of a naturally occurring genetic error, but that doesn't make whoever has it a problem. And if you think that they are a problem, it's not that you ought to understand, it's that you must understand how that line of thinking is fascist, because only fascists want and push for extermination of the populations they don't want around. If you understand that human beings, much less whole populations, should not be in danger of not existing because of your opinion on whether or not they should exist, then don't keep company with those who do. We call them Nazis for a reason, and the Star Wars stormtroopers are called stormtroopers for a reason. Side note, when did you learn that the stormtroopers were called stormtroopers for historical reasons? Because I was too old. In case you've never heard of this lovely TV show called Drop Dead Diva, it's a sitcom with a fat woman lawyer protagonist who is very pretty and has this lovely singing voice. In one episode, she has a case where this woman is suing a sperm bank because her resulting child with them is a little person. I grew up with the term dwarfism, and I personally like it because it's an umbrella term, because there are so many medical causes for it, but I understand the community prefers the term little people nowadays. The young man in question, who's played by Nick Novicki, let me put a picture up so we can all swoon together, is absolutely broken when he hears this in court, in public, because of course neither the protagonist nor his mother even thought to warn him before they went ahead. I don't even remember how that episode ended. I just remember his pain as he heard himself in court, in public, described as defective, as the product of defective product, and albeit in part as a disappointment to his mother, due to a condition he was born with, a condition that will color his life experience until he dies, a lifelong condition. They didn't use the argument that since the young man has a medical condition that requires so much care, the mother is paying so much more out of pocket than she reasonably could have expected. This is America, the richest country in the world, so of course universal health care is too much to ask for. And having to get her kid to and from so many more medical appointments than she could have reasonably anticipated, given that she went to a sperm bank and they're supposed to do quality control. The legal concept of reasonableness is covered in season 1, episode 2, so the viewers have this down pat. Therefore, the mother deserves enough from the sperm bank to cover her son's medical bills. And honestly, the young man has chronic pain, so why didn't they just go for pain and suffering, as well? Neither of these alternative or additional arguments even occurs to anyone. This is a case of how, even if we're not arguing for the extermination of a given population, by treating them or their alleged root cause, whatever quote-unquote made them that way, as a problem, we start dehumanizing them and imagining a world without them. People deserve to exist on this planet, and what's more, they deserve to thrive. I shouldn't have to tell you that. To sum up, by permitting and carrying out these lawsuits, this law firm, and by extension the legal system, because if this is one, it will set a horrific precedent, is not only endorsing, but implementing this form of thinking. Let's clarify that. It is not disagreeing with this discrimination, whose logical conclusion is extermination, thereby protecting us, the vulnerable population who are actively being discriminated against. It is making the discrimination happen. It is choosing to take part in the discrimination. And it is spending the finite resources of time, money, and human energy on siding with Jenny McCarthy's spiritual siblings. With, not against, people who think their autistic children are defective, who are demanding financial compensation because they feel entitled to it. The concept of law is based on logic, is based on following premises and given information through to their conclusion. Do not think that these lawyers don't know what they're doing and whom they're allying themselves with.
You want me to change your son?
Of course I do. Mine is soiled now.
How
we don't have any spare sound.
Typical, isn't it? Well, what have you got of equal value?